Hi everyone, hope you're having a great weekend so far. So about a week ago, I posted a video talking about a credit card scam that seems to have been running through Matthew Hussey's website for a long time. And if you haven't seen the video, I'll just offer a brief recap. Um, Basically, I experienced what I believe was credit card fraud through his website back in 2017. Uh, and years later, now that I'm deconstructing the advice of dating coaches, it just occurred to me to try to find out whether other people had also experienced the same shady had the same shady experience with Matthew Hussey's website as I had, and I actually uncovered just dozens upon possibly hundreds of testimonies of people who have also claimed to have experienced credit card fraud on Matthew Hussey's website. Um, and I'm honestly really shocked that more people are not talking about this. I could only find a handful of sources online uh, that had taken any sort of time to look into this or that were talking about it at all. Meanwhile, Matthew Hussey continues to enjoy a very high profile as a celebrity dating coach, as a so-called expert. He has millions of subscribers on YouTube. And this whole issue of the credit card fraud that has been running through his website for many years and seems to be still ongoing to this day is barely talked about. So if we bring up the testimonies of people, and this is just a sample of people who claim to have been defrauded by his website through unauthorized charges to their credit cards. This is taken from a Tumblr blog called Praying the Gay Away, and it just shows dozens and dozens of complaints from Matthew Hussey followers that their credit cards have been charged, you know, without their permission for products that they didn't order or subscriptions that they didn't sign up for. So this is what I looked at in a little bit more detail in my last video, and I'm just really trying to get the word out because I think this is horrifying. I know that credit card scams go on online, and it's terrible and very unfortunate and absolutely horrifying. And I really just encourage all of you to be extremely vigilant with where you put your credit card information. But what horrifies me even more is that someone of Matthew Hussey's profile and stature is doing this and getting away with it. And I really just want to get the word out. And just so you're aware, I cross-referenced the testimonials that I found on this Tumblr blog with other sources that I found online, on Trustpilot, Amazon, and a couple of scam websites as well, or websites that cover scams. On the whole, though, I'm just quite shocked that journalists and commentary channels are not talking about this more, because it really, the general public needs to be made aware of this. And because I had this experience, because it happened to me, I can feel quite confident talking about this, that this is not just me slinging mud at Matthew Hussey. This is something that is actually happening. And if we look at the likes of influencers like Brittany Dawn, who was also running a scam through her website, and she has been called out in it very publicly. She's been dragged through a lawsuit by the state of Texas and been made to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars back in reparations. If we look at the standard that someone like Brittany Dawn is being held to, and very rightfully so, I'm absolutely delighted that she's been held accountable. But we really need to have the same standard for all influencers. We can't be allowing someone like Matthew Hussey to get away with scamming his audience and his followers just because you know, he's kind of charming and good looking and likable. We need to hold him accountable as well, and that's how I feel about it. So there are just, again, I'll link the Tumblr blog down below, but there are just dozens and dozens and hundreds of these um, complaints and testimonials of people who have been overcharged on their credit card by using his website. So today, in today's video, I want to look a little bit more at the type of scam that seems to be running here. What is it? How does it work? How is Matthew Hussey getting away with it? And then I also want to look at how he's responded, because there have been so many complaints about it on social media that I mean, I personally believe that he's been aware of it from the start, because I think it's intentional. I don't think anyone defrauds people for this long and it's just a mistake or a glitch in the system. I think he's perfectly well aware of it. And so we're going to look, in the latter part of this video, we're going to look at how he's responded to the complaints, or more accurately, how he has not responded. And to date, he's never made any kind of public statement about the many complaints that people have made about being scammed and overcharged on his website. So he personally has remained completely silent about it. And his team have he has a customer service team, you know, through his company. They've made very kind of lukewarm efforts to appease customers here and there, which have not really been even close to being sufficient, but we're going to look at that in the latter part of the video. So first, I just want to look at what is a continuity billing scam, because that is what we're looking at here. What Matthew Hussey is doing is called a continuity billing scam, and the experiences of these customers fit the definition of a continuity billing scam to the T. So let's just look at a definition so that we understand what we're working with, and that we're all clear on what this is. This definition is taken from Fox Business. So it says, the scam is called continuity billing, an appropriate term because if you fall for the scheme, and thousands of credit card holders are falling hard for it, you will experience the continuity of regret. So the continuity aspect refers to the fact that the credit card fraud is ongoing. In many cases, people are not just overcharged once, they're overcharged on a monthly basis. So it can be very difficult at that point to put a stop to it or to get a refund. So then it says, the remorse continues because your credit card is billed each month for generally worthless services you were tricked into authorizing. Well, generally worthless services, I think, to be honest, I think that describes a lot of the products that dating coaches are putting out, but that's just my own personal bias and opinion. So let's continue. Law enforcement authorities around the country say continuity billing scams are on the rise and warn consumers to avoid being victimized. We've brought several cases and will be bringing more of them, says Frank Dorman, a spokesman for the Federal Trade Commission. In summary, continuity billing scams work like this. Filling out a website form, you agree to pay a modest fee, generally less than $3. So in the case of Matthew Hussey's website, he entices you to buy an ebook, which is $7. So it's a small, relatively small fee. And we saw so many, in the last video, we saw so many of the consumers who were making complaints, including myself, say that they simply had wanted to sign up for the $7 ebook. And then things all go pear-shaped after that. So you agree to pay a modest fee for initial access to information or a service that sounds potentially useful. After a few clicks of the mouse, the information or product you bought shows up on your screen or in the mail, and that seems to be that. Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought. So then it says, a month or two later, You find a charge for $39.95 or $94.89 or even more on your credit card bill. Hey, you say, I didn't authorize that. Well, maybe you did, sort of. One of those seemingly benign mouse clicks chained you to monthly payments that were disclosed, if they were disclosed at all, in thick language buried several layers deep in that website. And this is exactly what we see on Matthew Hussey's website. There's lots, as someone who's been through the checkout process on his website and who has been scammed in this way, there's lots and lots of things you have to click in order to complete the checkout process on his website. And what seems to be the case is that one of those clicks, or if you don't click the right thing, or if you accidentally click the wrong thing, you can unknowingly subscribe to something, you know, that you never wanted, and that you're basically being tricked into agreeing to, because it's so hidden, you know, and that's intentional. So it says continuity scams are easy to run online because most people don't read the fine print. Often a tiny font at the very bottom of the sales page and designed to can't speak. Sorry, guys. And designed to blend into the page background and are conditioned to ignore small amounts on their credit card bills, on their monthly credit card bills, says Mike Young, an attorney based in Plano, Texas, who specializes in legal disputes involving the internet. When the amount is $9.95 or $19.95 per month, victims procrastinate. Another month goes by and they get billed again, he said. When it is a larger amount, such as $79.95, or what we saw on Matthew Hussey's website, it was $69.95 that people kept being charged. It is still not often caught until there have been 2 or 3 billing cycles. Multiply these numbers by tens or hundreds of thousands of victims, and you can see why continuity scams are lucrative, particularly for those who are able to hide their identities in multiple entities and offshore, or quickly close down and set up a new operation every few months or so. Well, in the case of Matthew Hussey, he is a very public figure who's hiding in plain sight, really. That's why I can't believe that this scam hasn't garnered more attention, that it hasn't been caught yet by the mainstream media. He is a very public figure, and he has been getting away with doing this to his audience and his followers, people who buy something off his website, for years. We saw in the last video, I looked at, there's evidence going back to 2012 of this billing scam running on his website, and it still continues to this day. So let's now have a look at how Matthew Hussey has responded, because to be honest, it's actually kind of funny. It's funny to me, and maybe my sense of humor is a little wacky, but it's funny to me how someone who claims to conduct himself with such integrity is just letting all of this completely simmer below the surface, not drawing attention to it because he doesn't want to come across as the bad guy, and completely refusing to acknowledge it, and continuing to enjoy a reputation as someone who cares about women, when in my opinion he's just your everyday snake oil salesman. He does have some good content and some good advice, and there have been suggestions that he doesn't actually write that content himself, that his brother Stephen Hussey, who has a PhD in philosophy, writes a lot of his content. But I personally, just for the record, I don't trust Matthew Hussey at all, and my mistrust of him started with being scammed by his website. And there's really no excuse for it. It's been going on for years, as I say. Who knows how many hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars he's made from this scam? And he hasn't addressed the complaints in any meaningful way. But let's have a look. There was a time that Matthew Hussey's customer service team would still respond to people if they posted about it on Twitter. and they'd promised to rectify the situation or rectify the problem and refund the person. But that has since stopped completely. So let's have a look. So Matthew Hussey stopped responding to customer complaints in February after this happened. And it's effing hilarious. So this is back in 2016. There was a particularly irate customer who posted on his Twitter. And after that exchange between this customer and Matthew Hussey's customer service team, Matthew Hussey's customer service team has completely stopped responding to any social media complaints about people who claim to have been scammed. And the blog post starts with this really passive-aggressive post from Matthew Hussey. He says, "When we give our all to someone, we come from a place of credibility and asking for a high standard in return. I'm tired of seeing people asking for a high standard who aren't giving it themselves. Before we expect great, let's first be great ourselves." Well, Matthew, what exactly is great about scamming your loyal followers out of, a lot of money, abusing people's credit card information to make unauthorized charges? What is great about that? But to me, this is it's just an example of Matthew Hussey's hypocrisy. So the post goes on to say, "Too many people in relationships expect first, then give second. The game changes when we flip that around." Well, again, as I say, I think this is kind of passive aggressive. I think it's trying to say to his audience, if you expect me to be a great dating coach, you first need to give to me. And it's kind of a subtle way of deflecting blame. That's kind of how it reads to me. So we have this really angry consumer, rightfully so, who is posting on Matthew Hussey's Twitter because she's being charged £50 and upwards a month off her credit card. And she's absolutely furious about it, and who can blame her? So she says, "Just sent an email because you were charging me £55 per month for something I didn't ask about. Refund me my money. You have stole from me almost £1,000. You're just a thief. Give me my money back." So Matthew Hussey's customer support team says, "Hi Elisa, thank you for reaching out. Please PM your full name and email address attached to the subscription so I can have our customer care team look into this and have it resolved as quickly as possible for you. Many thanks, Charlotte, MH team." So Elisa says, "I have just sent an email with my information. Please fix the situation. I've been charged £300 for something I didn't ask for." Then Charlotte responds, "Hi Elisa, our customer care team work Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and you can expect a response within one business day. If you would like to DM me the details, I would love to highlight your email as a priority so this can be resolved swiftly for you. Many thanks, Charlotte." Then Elisa says, "It looks like it's not possible to DM Matthew Hussey. Now what?" So after this, Matthew Hussey turned his DMs off. She says, "I already sent you an email explaining the issue. Here is my attached phone number. Call me, period." Then we have a Matthew Hussey stan come along and defend Matthew Hussey and say, "Woman, take a chill pill. They get hundreds, maybe even thousands of emails every day. I think he heard you the first time." Then Elisa says, "You can go F yourself." And then the stan says, "You need to have patience. Matthew is in Dubai right now, and being nasty to him and his team is not going to get you a reply any faster." And Elisa says, "Do you think I care? They've stolen hundreds of pounds, so no, I want answers immediately." And the fan says, "You're going to have to wait. He should be getting back today, but I don't know for sure. He and Camilla might stay there longer." So this is when Matthew Hussey was dating Camilla Cabello. Your money will be replaced, so just relax. It's not doing you any good to get all upset and stressed out. You're only hurting yourself. And I think this is the problem, is that someone like Matthew Hussey has these really loyal female fans who are willing to go to bat for him even when he does really reprehensible things, like stealing money from his consumers, from his customers. Um, and yeah, so Elisa addresses Charlotte, who was the Matthew Hussey customer service lady, again, and she says, look, Charlotte, I've already sent an email to support with my details. I pretend to be called or I will follow another way. You have stolen from me almost £400. This situation has a priority. Please answer my email. And at that point, Matthew Hussey's team just stopped responding to Elisa and stopped responding to customers who complained about this in general. There's there's no record of Charlotte following up with Elisa or replying to other customers who complain about, being defrauded on the website. And then the blogger's comments, I just thought were really funny. He says, I don't know what's funnier. Charlotte asking the customer to DM them as an act of completely empty reassurance that they'll look into it. The customer pointing out that DMing them isn't even possible. Or the random ass astroturfer Debbie chiming in with pointless Matt Miller PR narratives, as if that will calm down the customer who has had hundreds of pounds stolen from them by Matthew Hussey. Since that incident, Matthew Hussey had stopped responding to any customer complaints or inquiries regarding stolen funds. And then another thing I thought was really funny about this whole situation is there's someone on Twitter called Matt Hussey, and I don't know who he is, but it's just someone who shares the same name as Matthew Hussey. And he was apparently just getting inundated with messages and comments asking him to refund money. And obviously it has nothing to do with him. They were just confusing him with the actual Matthew Hussey, the dating coach. And this Matt Hussey was getting so sick of being bothered by Matthew Hussey's customers who had been defrauded and scammed that he actually tweeted at Matthew Hussey. And he says, hi Matt, I know we've crossed paths a few times, but I have to let you know I've had dozens of emails from clients of yours asking for advice and inquiring about funds taken from their accounts. Could you please set up some sort of email or helpline to stop this? And then, of course, Matthew Hussey didn't respond to that. And as I say, there's been no response from Matthew Hussey or no public statement ever since. And I just really encourage you, it's so important that we hold, incredibly successful, wealthy influencers who have built their career and a platform and amassed millions of dollars through their fans online. It's so important that we hold them accountable when they do completely scammy, shady, unethical stuff like this. In this case, I think this is really verging on theft. By all accounts, many of these customers have not had their money refunded, and who knows how many customers have just had charges taken off their credit card without even realizing or knowing that that's what has happened to them. I really just encourage you, even if you are a Matthew Hussey stan, a Matthew Hussey follower, if you're a fan of his work, we have to hold him accountable for this, and he can't be allowed to get away with this. So I would really appreciate it if you would, along with me, continue to keep up to date with this situation, research it, go and do your own research online, look into it, verify these claims for yourself, and let's all band together to make sure that Matthew Hussey is held accountable. I'm not saying this because I take any sort of delight in seeing Matthew Hussey's downfall. That's not what I want. But it makes me very angry to think that not only is Matthew Hussey, as a dating coach, possibly manipulating his followers emotionally, but he's also being unethical financially and stealing money from them. I mean, as if his products and his retreats were not exorbitantly expensive enough, he feels the need to run this scam through his website that makes unauthorized charges from people's credit cards and takes money that they don't want to part with. I mean, it's just, it's deplorable. It's horrifying. I don't even have the words to describe my disgust for this, especially someone who is already as wealthy and high profile as Matthew Hussey, that he's getting away with this just kind of, it honestly makes my stomach turn. So, as I say, feel free to do your own research, look into this issue yourself, and please be incredibly careful, especially when putting your credit card information into Matthew Hussey's website, because he has a history of doing this kind of thing. But please, just in general, be very careful with your credit card information, and let's keep the conversation going about this. And until next time, guys, have a great weekend, and thanks for watching.